The Minnesota Vikings a few days ago made a shocking and very confusing comment about Sam Darnold. They believe Sam Darnold has untapped potential. Tell me where we've heard this before. Because I recall when he got signed by the 49ers last year, watch out. Kyle Shanahan may be able to squeeze some juice out of Sam Darnold. He was put in a bad situation playing on the Carolina Panthers, had to play under Adam Gates with the New York Jets. Sam Darnold is one of those quarterbacks that shows you enough that anytime he gets signed to a halfway decent situation, people still think he can play at the level that was expected out of him when he was a first-round pick years ago. I don't see that being the case in Minnesota. Could he come in and be a decent quarterback for them? Hell yeah. Kevin O'Connell was able to win with Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins last season. You mean to tell me he can't be able to win a few games with Sam Darnold throwing the Jay Jettas, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson with a really good offensive line? The thing with Sam Darnold is that the reason why Sam Darnold's career has panned out the way that it has isn't necessarily always due to him being in bad situations. He wasn't able to beat out Brock Purdy for the starting job last year. And you can say that it never was a legit quarterback competition anyway because they knew Brock Purdy was going to be the guy. But I didn't see anything out of Sam Darnold in the preseason last year to show me, oh yeah, like imagine this dude playing on the Vikings or a better situation or a team that actually gave him a shot. He could actually be a great starter. Sam Darnold at his best is a bridge stopgap quarterback. You know, if your starter gets injured and he's out for the season, he can come in and win you a few games, but he's not going to be somebody who you can make it to the playoffs with. He's not going to be somebody who you decide to build your franchise around for the next 5 to 6 years. Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith the last couple of years have had outlier seasons to me. Look at Geno Smith last year. After he had that big breakout campaign in 2022, look at how he played in 2023. The level of play went down dramatically. Baker Mayfield, his level of play is about to go down dramatically with them losing Dave Canales to the Carolina Panthers. And you know who was there the year Geno Smith had that insanity run when everybody wrote him off and he didn't write back? Dave Canales. I get that there's still the Sam Darnold fan club out there that believes that he hasn't been put in a situation as good as this one. But let's not make it seem as if Sam Darnold hasn't kind of been part of the problem for the situations that he's been put in. New York definitely was an awful situation. In Carolina, it wasn't that great neither. But Steve Wilkes was able to win games with Sam Darnold. And that's the thing with Sam Darnold. You can win some games with him. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with him. We got to stop trying to be attached to quarterbacks that don't have the ceiling to win you a Lombardi trophy. That's the biggest problem that the NFL has right now. We want to pay dudes like Daniel Jones and Tua Tagovailoa, who we know aren't going to show up come postseason time, all this big time money, and then we wonder why these teams can't win. If your quarterback can't win you a Super Bowl, you shouldn't be looking at them as the long-term answer. You should be looking to replace them at the best moment you get the chance to. J.J. McCarthy, what do these comments about Sam Darnold and this untapped potential say about him? Was he stinking up the joint in OTAs and minicamp? I was doing some fishing around, and I actually talked to a few Vikings fans before I went on live, and they said that J.J. McCarthy actually looked pretty decent at OTAs and minicamp. These comments don't have any bearings on J.J. McCarthy starting for Minnesota potentially this year. Is he going to start week 1? Maybe not. But I expect to see J.J. McCarthy at some point this season. You got to be fooling yourself if you think that Sam Darnold in the NFC North with the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers being perennial Super Bowl contenders, Minnesota's going to be able to have a winning season with him at quarterback. You can say this is the best situation that he's ever had, but we said the same thing when he was playing for the 49ers last year. And Brock Purdy is supposed to be this game manager, barely above average quarterback that only benefits from having a lead play calling and a good supporting cast, but yet Sam Darnold couldn't debunk him from the ranks of QB1, and he's a former first-round pick. I'll never forget watching Sam Darnold's pro day and hearing all the oohs and ahs for all the throws he was making, but none of that has translated in the NFL. Sam Darnold will give you a few moments, have a few games that'll make you go, wow, I definitely see why he was drafted in the first round a few years ago. But the most of his games are going to show you why he's viewed the way he is right now. No more than a low-end starter that's just a stopgap until the dude behind them is ready to go, or you can find a better suitable replacement. I'm not putting anything into these comments that Minnesota made. This is just off-season hoopla. You know, everybody in the off-season is overly optimistic. You will never hear a head coach down talk any player of their team during this part of the offseason. OTAs, everybody looks like the next Brady. Everybody looks like the next superstar. Everybody looks like they can have a breakout season. But once September rolls around, we find out the truth about a lot of these dudes. Sam Darnold isn't it. No matter how good of a play caller and the situation that he's in with the Minnesota Vikings under Kevin O'Connell, his ceiling is severely limited. We've seen enough out of Sam Darnold to know what he is at this point. I don't see no untapped potential in Sam Darnold. Could he pull off a Case Keenum? Maybe. But I'm willing to bet a lot of money that that doesn't happen. People tried to say the same thing a few years ago to me after the Steelers signed Mitchell Trubisky and then drafted Kenny Pickett. There's a reason why J.J. McCarthy got drafted by Minnesota. They already had Sam Darnold on the roster before they took J.J. McCarthy. So that shows you that if there truly was some untapped potential, if they really believed in him, like how some people are suggesting they do by these comments, they just would have passed up on J.J. McCarthy and they would have got a skill position player or offensive lineman or another pass rusher or cornerback that could better help them win this season. Instead, they drafted J.J. McCarthy. There's nothing to put stock into when it comes to Sam Darnold and this untapped potential nonsense that the Vikings are trying to sell us, man. This is just off-season hoopla that I call it.